to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking some truly fascinating insights on how companies actually handle employee education and training. Now, if you've ever managed a team, or honestly even just been a part of one, you definitely know the struggle. We're talking about the age-old challenge of getting a real, solid return on investment from your training budget. It's a super common trap, right? Companies set aside these massive funds to upskill their workforce, but when it comes to actual development, it just falls completely flat. Well, today we're going to lean on the brilliant principles of legendary management thinker W. Edwards Deming to figure out exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how we can fix it.
So, here is a bit of a provocative question for you to kick things off. What do you think is easier for a manager to do? Saying, hey team, great news, we've got a €50,000 training budget this year. Just go ahead and pick whatever you need. Or sitting down with one single employee for an hour to figure out exactly what they should learn. Now, at first glance, that €50,000 open budget sounds like an absolute dream, doesn't it? It feels so empowering, a total choose-your-own-adventure vibe. But, well, here's the crazy paradox of the open training budget. Practically nobody uses it right. When a manager just says, hey, everyone can take any course, the usual response is just absolute silence.
Okay, let's dive right into this and look at the actual data, because it reveals exactly what happens when managers just toss an open budget at their team. It turns out, only about 30% of employees will actually engage, click around, or choose a course. That means a massive 70% remained completely passive. They literally do nothing. Because when you offer total freedom of choice without giving any specific direction, the overwhelming majority of your team is just going to freeze up. It's classic choice paralysis. So the budget just sits there, completely untouched on the books, while the team's skills just kind of stagnate.
Let's give this a quick reality check and see how this plays out in the real world. We generally see three distinct outcomes here. First, you have the employee who simply doesn't know what they need to develop. The result? They choose absolutely nothing. Again, total analysis paralysis. Second, you've got the employee who picks something completely random because it sounded kind of cool at the time. But later, they realize it wasn't actually needed for their role at all. Just a total waste of time and money. But the third outcome? Oh, this one changes the game entirely. When an employee receives an explicit, targeted recommendation from their manager, they take immediate action. Why? Because the psychological signal they just got was, this is specifically for me. The difference between the total paralysis of open choice and the momentum of a targeted recommendation is absolutely huge.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core philosophy from W. Edwards Deming. He argued that, quote, education is a management task. It should be clearly connected to the job and the person's development path. Think about that for a second. It completely flips the script. Education isn't just some passive, nice-to-have employee perk where you hand out a giant course catalog and walk away hoping for the best. No, it is an active management responsibility. You, as the leader, absolutely need to understand the clear connection between what your team member needs to learn today and where their career is heading tomorrow.
So the absolutely crucial point we need to make here is the fundamental difference between offering an option and charting a pathway. An option is really just availability without direction. It's essentially shrugging and saying, hey, the budget's there if you want it. A pathway, on the other hand, is a targeted recommendation that is explicitly linked to that specific person's career success. Just offering an option, that creates silence and confusion because people honestly just don't know what to prioritize. But charting a pathway, that creates immediate action. It gives the employee total clarity and proves to them that you are deeply, actively invested in their specific growth. Now, what's really interesting is when we put these two management styles side by side, the contrast is just stark. The first manager, the one who just gives an option, simply says, hey, training is available, and then they just sit back, cross their fingers, and wait for the employee to activate themselves. But the second manager, the one who charts a pathway, they don't wait around for activation. They actively trigger it. They say, you know what, you should take this specific training, and here is exactly why. Hearing the words, this is for you, is a radically different psychological signal than just hearing it's available. One approach is just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. The other, it's actively engineering success.
So how can you actually apply this to your own team today? Well, it's honestly as simple as opening a notebook and writing down 3 quick things for every single person on your team. Step 1, identify the exact, specific skill they really need to develop. Step 2, clearly define exactly why this skill is a game changer for their current job and their future trajectory. And step 3, present it to them as a clear, explicit recommendation, not just a loose, hey, maybe think about this kind of option, but as targeted, actionable advice. Skill plus why equals a recommendation. That right there is how you shift from just sitting on a pile of budget money to actively, intentionally managing your team's education. Which brings us to our final thought for today. I really want you to take a hard look at how you're currently handling training and development in your own organization. Ask yourself, are you just offering your team an option, or are you actually building them a clear path to success? It is time to stop waiting around for your team to just magically guess what they need to learn and start managing their education with real intention. Thanks so much for joining me for this analysis, and I'll leave you to chew on that one for a bit.